Welcome to the Living Unoffended podcast with your host, Brant Hansen.
Real quick, a reminder, Living Unoffended, the book comes out in June. You can pre-order it now, and the pre-orders help a lot. So thanks for doing that. Living Unoffended, it looks really good. I mean, like the way they laid it out and stuff. So I'm excited about it. I think you'll like it. If you're listening to this, I think you're going to like it. But check it out. You can get it at Amazon, all the usual places. Now, let's dive into this. So her name is Kelly, and she sent a question that I talked about a little bit on our other podcast, Brant and Sherry Oddcast, and Sherry said, hey, this would be good for the Living Unoffended podcast. And it totally is. The question from Kelly was about engaging in politics and political opinions. And she's like, do we ignore politics? Do we engage in marches, run for office, take a stand, just let it be? All that sort of thing. Like, how does this fit into our whole thing about loving our enemies? And so I do think this is a great topic to talk about here. I'm going to run through some ideas for this and like the posture that we should have, like some ideas about when we engage with people on political questions. But honestly, politics is culture now too. Like if I'm talking about any number of issues that are very, very important, you could call it politics, but I might call it culture. It doesn't matter. The point is, here are some ideas when you are how to say, like antagonized by the culture around us, the political stuff and what people say and do and the evil things that people are up to. So here's some ideas. I'm going to run through them pretty quickly here. And they all kind of fall under the rubric of treating people as you'd want to be treated, which the golden rule is interesting for a number of reasons, of course. But one of them is Jesus is not saying treat people the way you'd want to be treated unless they're really evil. He doesn't make that clause in there. It's for our enemies as well. We're supposed to treat them as we'd want to be treated. So the way I think about this is, what is my posture toward the people I'm discussing things with online or wherever? Am I loving my enemies or not? That can't stop just because now we're entering the fray of political or cultural discussion or something like that. I remember being so like, just not bothered, just like confused. I think I was in 6th grade or something, and I went to a church league basketball game. It was the guys from my church, like I looked up to, maybe in their 20s in this little town, 20s and 30s, and they're playing. And I knew these guys to be these mild-mannered, nice guys like that I admired. And then I saw them play in this church league basketball game when they just lost it. Like they were throwing temper tantrums and acting like babies and yelling at each other, yelling at the refs and the other team. Like, what? And I remember driving back one time. I was in the back seat, and one of the guys, a couple of the guys were in the front seat that had played. They're like, well, yeah, but once you step between the lines, they said, that a lot of the Christianity stuff it doesn't apply there. Like, really? Once you step between the lines, it doesn't apply. So I don't believe that. I don't believe that with regard to politics and culture, even on incredibly important questions. I am supposed to treat people as I want to be treated. My posture has to be, and I think our posture has to be, we love our enemies, period, which means I'm not going to mock them. And I see this a lot among purportedly Christian accounts on social media that mock enemies, and they think it's okay. I disagree. I respectfully disagree with people like Seth Dillon from the Babylon Bee when he actually makes the argument, and I appreciate that he makes the argument. He actually has the discussion. Is it okay to mock people? And he's like, well, in the service of, I don't want to short circuit his argument, but he effectively says, yes, it is when it's called for, when it's needed in the larger service of truth. I respectfully disagree with that. I don't think we're supposed to mock people. Yes, you can call out the absurdity of an idea or a position or an evil idea or yes, definitely call that out. You can make fun of an idea, totally, but mocking people, no. Like if you're sitting in a room, imagine sitting in a room with a diverse group of people having a discussion and somebody says the opposite of what you are convinced to be true and helpful and good and all that, like it's an evil thing. Do I mock them? I don't think so. And I don't know why it would be different in like an internet space. I don't know why that would be okay. I don't think that's Jesus-like for us to mock people. So the mockery's gone, in my opinion, off the table when it comes to people. I may disagree with Islam, and of course I do, have fundamental, deep disagreements, but I'm not going to mock Muslims. I'll challenge the ideas, yes, but to mock them, no. Okay, I think I made that point. I'll move on. Another thing here, engage the best arguments, not caricatures of arguments. This happens to me all the time. I see like a position that I might have on a given issue mocked, but it's not understood why I would have that position. You could probably relate to that. It's like accused of the worst kind of motives when actually that's not even my argument. That's not why I believe that thing. It has nothing to do with it. But I want to return, like if I'm feeling that on my side, I definitely want to return that for other people. Like I want to genuinely understand your argument, and I want to be able to say it in a way that you'd recognize it and go, yeah, that's my argument. I saw this. It's so rare to see this, but I saw this. It was Archbishop, or the guy used to be Archbishop of Canterbury. I can't remember his last name. I think it's Rowan Williams. I want to call him Rowan Atkinson, but then I remember Rowan Atkinson is Mr. Bean. So it's not Mr. Bean. It was Rowan Williams, I think. But he was on a debate show recently, and I think it was with the atheist biologist guy. No, I can't remember. Dawkins. I think it was with Dawkins. But he starts off by describing his opponent's viewpoint. And when he got done, he's like, let me make sure I understand where you're coming from here. And he sums it up so beautifully that his opponent was like, I couldn't have put it better myself. He was just like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Well, now you get a place to have a productive conversation. But I think that's a great thing. It's also great to just help if you want to persuade somebody to the truth. Attacking straw men or caricaturing what they're actually saying. Like how would they put it? I would love for somebody to do that with me when they disagree with me. That'd be wonderful. Engage the best arguments, not cartoon versions. They've actually done studies and found that people who are really well educated are really bad at this. Isn't that like it's counterintuitive, but true that they'll be like some of the most educated people will be the most dismissive about their opponent's actual arguments. They don't either understand them or want to understand them or are willing to voice them in a way that honors the other person. So, all right, engage the best arguments, not cartoon versions. Next, do not make it incumbent on other people to engage like you do in the political realm. I have people tell me all the time, not all the time, I'm exaggerating now. I have people frequently criticize me for not talking politics enough on Twitter or not talking about their issue on Twitter, telling me I'm not Twittering right, I'm not Xing right, or not using my platform the way I should. And I can appreciate the conviction. I can appreciate that's their thing, but it'd be sometimes it's a narrow issue, but they're like, you have to talk about this narrow issue. Like, you know what? I agree with you, but I don't have to talk about every issue. I don't have to. And I don't have to tell other people you're not doing this right unless you're talking about the thing that I'm wound up about. I don't think that's fair. Also, if somebody wants to concentrate, like in my case, I've made the decision that my main concentration is going to be about encouraging people to actually follow Jesus. So it's interesting to me in Jesus' ministry, well, you know this if you study his ministry at all, he's actively being pursued by factions to take a stand against other factions. And he doesn't take the bait. He just doesn't do it. So I'm kind of taking my cue from him on that too. It's not that the issues that they were agitated about weren't important. It's just that he's here for this specific reason. And if your thing, I got a friend who runs an incredible ministry in Atlanta. It's amazing. Like for people who are homeless, people who are just getting out of prison, women and children and who need safe places to live. It's remarkable. That's his thing. I don't go to him and say, you know what, you need to stop talking about that. Start talking about cure. Because I love healing kids in these countries and letting them walk again. And I love the expression of Jesus. Like, he should do his thing and I get to do mine and we both get to love what we're doing. Like, so yeah, I think you understand that. Don't have to go on about that. But the discipleship thing, actually, I think a lot of our political cultural problems can be pinned on actually lack of people of Jesus actually being his disciples. So I could go on about that for a while. But another thing about engaging, practice the fruit of the Spirit. Let that be apparent at all times toward your political opponents that you're debating with online or wherever it is. Is your feed or your timeline, the things that you say, are they ultimately marked with love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control? Would someone look at what you're doing and find that in the overall arc of how you're putting things? I think that's a very fair question. So even as I disagree, maybe very, very strongly, is that still a hallmark of how I'm operating? Are people still going to hate me? Yeah. Are they going to hate you? Even if you do it this way, where you're for them, you've prayed for them, you're disagreeing, but you're doing it with love and genuine patience for people and kindness, and it's coming from a place of love. Will you still be hated? Yeah. But you don't control the other person. I only get to control me and the state of my heart and where I'm going with stuff. Lastly, I remember this, and I mentioned this on the other podcast too. I remember Dallas Willard's refusal to do debates. He stopped doing debates. He said that he was a professor at USC, so he's in this big secular university, and he's the head of the philosophy department. At one point, he's the chairman, and he's got tenure. He's been around, and people know he's a believer. So a lot of people wanted to debate him, and he said he wouldn't do debates. But if you wanted to do a mutual inquiry into the truth, okay. And I love that framing. Like, you know what? I don't want to just debate you, but if you want to do a mutual inquiry into the truth, that puts us on a different, we're kind of shoulder to shoulder now in a way, instead of just in each other's faces. So where I can at least in my own head, even if it's not the place to say, let's do a mutual inquiry into the truth, if that's the thing I've got in my head as a model, then the words that come out can be influenced by that too. Like, I am also always seeking truth. And I can't just go, well, this is just the way it is. It's what I've always believed. Like, I'm not afraid of pursuing truth, but that can be my posture, as well as that I'm engaging in an inquiry for the truth here, along with you. I just saw a clip from Rich Mullins, and he's hugely influential in my upbringing. It's wild how influential he was, honestly. The first Christian musician I really listened to, and it was his first cassette. I saw him in concert and got the cassette. And it's just so good. But I saw a clip of him recently, back before he got killed, obviously. This was in the mid-'90s. I think he died in September of 97. But he was talking about how we'll find any excuse to condemn people. And that can be how we operate. I was thinking, that's so true. We'll do that. If we got it in for somebody, we'll find something and criticize it. Somebody's on stage, we'll find something if that's all we're looking for. But then I was thinking today, like, what if instead of finding excuses to condemn people, our setting was on the finding excuses to pardon people? Like, looking for a reason to pardon people. I mentioned that in traffic, like if somebody's tailgating you and then zips around you going 100 miles an hour, and they're probably being awful. But Maybe it is an emergency. So I'm finding an excuse to be able to pardon somebody. And having that mentality towards my neighbors who might be obnoxious, or your neighbors, but can I find a reason to pardon them? I think is a really good way to view people. It's not relativistic. It doesn't deny evil at all. But can I find an excuse to, instead of condemning? Can I find something? And I need to work on that myself. But I hope this is helpful. I hear from you. I get emails. I'm really encouraged by the emails. It's Brant@BrantHansen.com. Like if this is helping you live stuff out in a new way, that's wonderful. Makes me so happy. I also want to thank not just you, but our sponsor, of course, United Faith Mortgage. Something they could help you with. They've been awesome, and I've heard good things from listeners already who are working with them. But if you're in a credit card situation, they say a lot of the refinancing they do now, people's houses have gone up in value, so you might have more equity than you realize, and you can borrow against that, pay off your credit cards, and have a lower rate, which could help you a lot and get everything paid off a lot sooner. So that's a cash out refinance. You can use it for other reasons too, besides credit card debt, but that's one really savvy way to do it. They can help you with that. They can obviously help you get a mortgage, which they're doing for me, and they're direct lenders too, which is great because they often can get you a lower rate than you can get elsewhere, which is obviously a big deal. So UnitedFaithMortgage.com online. Thank you again. So great that you're listening. You even made it to the end. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Living Unoffended podcast with Brant Hansen. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And if you'd like more information on Brant Hansen, his book Unoffendable, and more, go to BrantHansen.com.